All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Wow. My voice just squeaked a little bit there. I think I was going back to puberty for a second there. That was. I wish I was, actually. Welcome back to the show, the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Again, news that I received, and again, this is not confirmed. It's not 100%, but the sources that I have been hitting me up in the course of the last hour, at least a few that I think are extremely reliable, that are very close to the UNLV basketball program, and they are telling me the same thing, that Marvin Menzies is expected to be let go within the next 48 hours or so. Maybe not. But I certainly believe in these sources, and I would not be surprised to hear this. So, again, we're going to continue to monitor this situation, and we'll see what happens. Joining us on the line right now, if you're wondering what's going on in Vegas this weekend besides all these crazy basketball tournaments, right? The man we have with us on the line does such a fantastic job for the Review Journal. He is Mr. Vegas when it comes to everything and anything Vegas. It is Johnny Katz. Johnny, thanks so much for coming on. How are you?
What's up? I'm at one of those crazy basketball tournaments right now.
Which one? Which one?
The Pac-12 over at T-Mobile Arena.
You know, the only game that I'm probably going to go to will be the finals, because it's at 7 o'clock on Saturday, and I can catch the Mountain West Conference Finals at 3 and then head over to the Pac-12. How's the crowd? Yeah, how's the crowd?
Deal.
Yeah, how's
What's
the crowd?
up, Johnny?
How's the crowd?
It's not bad. It's, pretty healthy. We're in it's the UCLA ASU game right now. And ASU's up by, I think, 15 last I checked. Before I came I'm in the bowels of T-Mobile right now. So I'm not
We appreciate that.
I'm not looking right. I was just standing here.
Very
and
descriptive.
Oregon walked by, the Oregon Duck mascot.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, he's in character. He's ready to roll.
If you see Dave Rice walking by, tell him his old friend Brian Shapiro says hello.
I will.
Yes.
I know Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Assistant
I remember
coach.
Dave was a grad assistant or an assistant under Bill Bano. That's how I met him.
Dave's a good guy.
The
I'll
old
tell you.
days.
I'll tell you. There's a lot of people right now, Mr. Katz, that would rather have Dave Rice here than Marvin Menzies. I think Menzies is in a lot of trouble, and the information that I received, he's going to be let go in a few days. I don't know if that's 100% true or not. But,
that seems to be the narrative right now about that particular firing of Dave a couple seasons ago, whenever it was 3 seasons ago, and. I don't know. I always liked Dave a lot. I always felt that Dave, if I had a college age athlete, I would have no problem having that kid play for Dave Rice.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great guy.
Really good guy.
He's a good guy. I've never said anything to the contrary of that. He's also a good husband, good father, cared a lot about UNLV, and he's a fantastic assistant coach. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out for Dave as a head coach here at UNLV, and it's certainly not working out for Marvin Menzies either. So nothing to take away from Dave. It just didn't work out here, so we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting few weeks, I think, for the program, it sounds like.
Yep.
So John, let's talk about the Raiders and the big moves they've made. Picking up Antonio Brown, Trent Brown, maintaining all those draft picks. What are your thoughts on what's going on, and how excited are you about the future of the Raiders program right now, or the team under Gruden and Mayock?
My only thought on this is I'm wondering about the general strategy when you let a receiver go, a top flight receiver, and then bring in someone who's in the same strata for more money. I don't know about that, and I think receivers are an easier position to fill than probably any other in the NFL. But he's a super talent. He's the gold standard, so I think that's great. I hope the team is assembled with a lot of named players by the time they hit Las Vegas. That's my feeling.
Yeah,
a lot of star power when they get here. That'll be a lot easier to get off to a strong start in Las Vegas.
Yeah, he adds a lot of hype, I think, to the team moving here. Because he has that swagger, he has that marketability. Some people like him, some people don't like him, but you know who he is, which I think is good for the franchise.
Well here for our image, I'm looking forward to covering a guy like that.
Right.
I like him that way, and he's a counterbalance to David Carr that way. He's a dynamic personality, and I want to see him at clubs, and I want to know where he shops, and what his fashion sense is. Those are the kind of peripheral things but people who are not really huge football fans will want to read about.
And I think that he'll actually be very, very involved in the community. I think you'll see him at fashion show a lot, or at the Win at the Louis Vuitton store or whatever it is.
All right, Mr. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I hope most of the Raiders are that way. It'll serve the team well. They do that, but they're involved.
All right, Mr. Katz, let's talk about what's going down besides basketball tournaments in Las Vegas this weekend. Tell me a little bit about what are you doing this weekend? What's going on in Mr. Katz's world?
Okay, let's talk about this. I'm going to go see, tomorrow afternoon, guys, is the dedication of Robin Leach Lane at the Cleveland Clinic Lou Rubro Center for Brain Health. And that's it's 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I'm introducing everybody, and they're going to change that stretch of Clark Avenue to Robin Leach in honor of Robin, and that's happening tomorrow. And
That's awesome.
I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm going to see, I'm not sure about my Friday night exactly. Dice Clay's in town. I want to see him one night. There's a really cool show later at the House of Blues called Queen versus the Beatles, which is a whole bunch of local artists getting together at 10 p.m. inside the music hall at the at House of Blues.
Yeah.
That's
House
going to
of
be
Blues.
fun. That's $10 a ticket. That's going to be great.
JD, you going to be checking that out?
Hey, that actually sounds pretty cool, except that I'd be spending, $32 on a vodka soda?
and about 30 to park.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then on Saturday it's the annual Keep Memory Alive Power of Love Gala with Lionel Richie being honored. That's going to be at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, and that is going on. I think I'm going to get there at 6. It's going to go on all night. I have a whole lineup of performers. Neo's in it. Lionel's going to perform.
Oh, that's cool.
There's a whole bunch of Bernie Williams, by the way, is in this lineup.
Former Yankee.
Yeah,
I love it.
He's a whale of a guitarist, dude. He
I heard that.
Really play. He is a monster talent, and he's going to be in that lineup. I'm really looking forward to seeing him, actually. And that's all for the money. And the money raised there goes to the Cleveland Clinic. So that's about it.
That's great.
Sunday is probably going to be. Might be Clay on Sunday. It's the 7th anniversary of Laugh Back. Oh, get this. Here's something for you guys. I think Roseanne is going to join Clay on stage in one of these shows. Roseanne Barr, and I think it might be. It's probably Saturday or it might be Sunday. One of those nights. But I just heard that today.
Oh boy, get the cameras rolling with her because she's bound to say something stupid.
She makes some interesting statements on a consistent basis.
I actually talked to Dice Clay here. He called me here to. No kidding, to tell me this, and he usually doesn't like phones out in his show. He goes, yeah, but when she's on stage, I'm going to tell everybody, hey, bring your phones out.
So hold on, when you get a call from Andrew Dice Clay, and you pick up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's Dice. Like, what does he say?
Hey, he's always in character. He's always the Dice man. Hey, where are you? What is that air horn in the background? And I said, I'm at a basketball tournament. I was watching the early game, and the Colorado was playing OSU. I had to give him a little rundown of the game. But he's
awesome.
always Clay. He's always that. And I know in his walking around life, he's not always Andrew Dice Clay, but when I've talked to him, he's always Dice. It's incredible.
All right, Johnny, where am I eating this weekend?
How about Sugarcane at the Venetian? That's a really cool place. It's open late. I like that about it. But they've got a crispy duck that just is killer, and I've been dying to get back in there. But it's a super restaurant. Foodies love it. I love it, even though I'm not a real foodie. It's got great hours. The staff is amazing.
I wanted to ask you.
You don't have to park at the Venetian. I mean, to pay to park at the Venetian. So
I wanted to ask you again about the Saturday night, the Lou Ruvo thing that's going to be at MGM. I know you mentioned Bernie Williams. Snoop Dogg, isn't he performing there as well?
Yes, he's in the lineup also.
So any other big names? Because I remember, I tell this story, Johnny, all the time. I've lived in this town 20 years, and I think the best night I've ever had, as far as meeting some of the greatest ever in film and music, was when they honored Muhammad Ali. I know you were there for that.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I was at that.
I got a chance to sit down and speak a few minutes with James Gandolfini, Tony Soprano. He passed away, sadly, a few years later. Chris Cornell also performed that night. I mean, everybody was there. I mean, everybody. And I don't think you'll ever have a night like that one. I mean, Sir Anthony Hopkins and Samuel L. Jackson, everybody.
Well, I think you will once the Super Bowl comes to Vegas, Brian.
Well, we got Neil Miguel. I'm looking at the list now. Anthony Anderson, who's an actor, musician.
Yeah, he's funny.
Lewis is going to be in this. Williams, Pedro Capo, Greg Fillingames is an amazing artist who's been involved in this before. Those are
good.
Some of the,
okay.
Those are some of the ones. And I think Shania is going to sing. I believe she'll sing "Endless Love" with Lionel.
That's
they
cool.
haven't announced that, but they've recorded that. They've recorded re-recorded the song he did with Diana Ross, and but that's the brunt of it.
That sounds like a lot of fun, man. And unfortunately, I wish I could go to that. I got a friend of mine who's going to be doing the red carpet for us, but I wish I could go. I'm going to be at the Pac-12 where you're at right now. The finals is 7 o'clock on Saturday, and I believe that's around the time that thing starts. So.
Yeah, that's right. It'll be going on. And I've got a thing I'm working on too. Jimmy Kimmel's going to be doing his talk show from Zappos Theater on the from the April 1st through April 5th on the Strip, and I'm going to be with him sometime Saturday doing a story, but I'm not sure when that is. But that's something to look forward to. So
yeah, no doubt.
Half a day and into the evening, so I'm going to have to figure my schedule out. But he's doing some on-site pre-recorded bits, and I'm going to be with him then.
Cool.
On a Saturday sometime. So.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you give some of our listeners a little preview of any other stories you're working on this weekend that people can go online or buy the paper, check out?
Well, coming up in the column tomorrow, we're going to have a wrap of the Opium first anniversary show over at Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas. There's a lot in this column coming up. We're going to have what else? So we're going to have the wrap of the Power of Love will be in the column. Shania Twain, her involvement in the show is going to be in the column. There are a whole bunch of notes coming. Here's another thing that I've got that's going to be coming up. I'm just about ready to close this out, but the Eagles are going to be coming back to Las Vegas in the late summer or early fall this year for 4 shows at MGM Grand Garden, and that has not been announced. But that is happening.
All right.
And so if you want to see the newly refurbished Eagles with Glenn Fry's son and Vince Gill in the band, then this is the time to do it. So that's the only North American dates they're going to have this year. And so that's come up in the column also.
Vince Gill, the legend. He's been around a long time. Yeah, no doubt. Well, we look forward to that, Mr. Katz. We will let you get back to enjoying some Pac-12 basketball, and look forward to you coming on the show again next week and catching up. Appreciate you coming on, my man. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, there you go.
Thanks a lot, Johnny.
Okay.
Johnny Katz from the Review Journal. He's got some fun events going on. Yeah, that event Saturday night at MGM Grand is a cool one. So if you're following our social media, I like to give you the latest information as soon as I get it. And in the 7 o'clock hour, in the first segment, I received a couple text messages from people that I respect and from people that seem to know what goes on when it comes to UNLV. And both of these people who I talk to on a daily basis tell me that Marvin Menzies allegedly is expected to be let go within the next 48 hours, and an announcement as early as Saturday could be made. Now, if that is made, I give them credit for doing it right away. You don't want to wait, right? You don't want to wait, or you don't want to fire a coach midseason like they did with Dave Rice. Hopefully they have someone else in mind. But again, this is not 100%, but I've put it out on Twitter, and I believe my sources. So we'll have to wait and see how this transpires, JD. Look, I would not have posted this on social media, and I would not be talking about it on the air if I did not believe it. The people that I talk to are juiced into UNLV. I will never say who they are, at least not on the radio. And I believe this to be true. I absolutely believe this to be true. We're going to have to wait and see what happens here in the next couple of days. I'm going to tell you right now, Marvin Menzies looked like a beaten man. Well, he was. I mean, they got beat by San Diego State, but he looked a little down, rightfully so. The season's over. It just doesn't make sense to bring this guy back. I would assume that these sources that I have are telling me the truth.
You're also doing a disservice to him, I think.
I'm doing a disservice to him?
I think bringing him back is doing a disservice to him.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
He's not going to be back in the 5th year. He's not going to make the NCAA tournament next year. They've got a little bit of talent, but not enough to do anything crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 4th or 5th in the Mountain West sounds about right. You need to get not necessarily younger blood, but new blood in.
Mm-hmm. And look, I'm not.
And you have to create momentum for the program because there's none right now.
No momentum right now. Be interesting if they do get a new coach. If Shakur Houston comes back, that would be very interesting.
I mean, name another program that's won a national championship in the last 30 years, besides maybe UConn, that has less momentum than UNLV right now.
I don't think our friend Steve Sear would mind me saying this. I don't always share what our friends say. Steve Sear, of course, the fabulous world-class host here in Las Vegas, texted me as he's agreeing with me that, yeah, Coach Menzies is out. I won't use the term he used, but he's also, let's put it this way, Steve Sear knows a lot of prominent people in this town as well. He's hearing the same thing I'm hearing. This isn't a rumor, folks. This isn't something that I'm just making up. This isn't something where I just want to be the first person on Twitter to blah, blah, which I would be, but that's fine.
Although that is kind of nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not, look, I never root for somebody to lose their job. I never root for somebody, to get screwed over. And I've never said in my mind and in my heart, boy, I hope this guy fails in regards to Marvin Menzies. I've never said that, just like I never said that about Dave Rice. Now, I don't like some of the excuses Marvin Menzies has made over the last several years. I don't like the way he's handled certain situations. And there's certain stuff, if he does lose his job, I'm going to share a few of those stories on the air. Out of respect to him, I'm not going to do that now. But again, if you're just joining us, sources close to the Vegas take, let's put it that way, that are very reliable, are telling me that Marvin Menzies is expected to be let go within the next 48 hours. An announcement could be made as early as Saturday. By the way, that's not even the Mountain West Conference tournament's still going on Saturday. So I don't know if they'll do it that early. But certainly if there is an announcement, we will be on top of it, and I promise you we will cover every single step of this. So according to the Marvin Menzies saying that he's trying to build a house, well, apparently that he might have just lost his house. I don't know. I don't want to make levity out of this and make a joke out of it. I feel bad that, but look, this is a guy that got paid a lot of money here. He's had an opportunity. It just hasn't worked out. That's all. It just hasn't worked out. He'll get a head coaching job somewhere else. It's not going to be a Power 5 school, but he'll get a job somewhere else. He'll be fine. Don't feel bad for Marvin Menzies. You shouldn't. He's made a lot of money here.
He's made what? Almost $4 million?
He's done very well financially.
Well over $3 million.
It just didn't work out. And again, I don't want to make it like this is 100%. I'm going by the sources that I have that are telling me that an announcement will be made in the next 48 hours, and I believe those sources to be true, that he will be let go. The question that I have, if and when this does happen, let's just say that my sources are correct, and I do believe that they are. Let's just say that they let him go, JD, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, around that time frame. Do you think that they have another coach already lined up? Do you think Thad Matta is ready to go? Because if they are going to do that, you have to have somebody ready to go, don't you? You have to. I don't think Francois would make that.
Conventional wisdom would say that they probably have somebody ready to go. And hopefully it's Thad Matta. I think Thad Matta is the absolute best choice to take over this program.
Yeah.
Assuming that your sources are correct and Marvin Menzies is actually let go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just...
and I think that he would support the media not getting CC's pizza before every single game in the media room. Because every time I eat that pizza, I literally get sick.
Yeah.
And I've started a new movement called the CC's Pizza Flu.
The problem is people have no idea what you're talking about. People have no clue. So if you have a media credential, you do get free food, and the food that UNLV serves is CC's Pizza. All due respect to CC's, I'm just not a big fan, and neither is JD.
It's 3 days old, roughly.
Not good.
If you want very, very cold.
If you want to eat good, though, it's these conference tournaments, they take care of you. They do a good job. But look, man, I've been saying this since last year. I didn't think Marvin was the right guy for the job. Just my opinion. It's subjective. You could disagree with me. That's fine. Just didn't think he was the right guy for the job. Just like I said the same thing about Dave Rice. Didn't think he was the right guy for the job. I really hope that if they do let him go, which it appears as though they are, you better make a good hire. You better hire somebody who can win here. Even if they don't have name recognition. Everybody's obsessed with name recognition. Yeah, in a perfect world, would Rick Pitino be great here? Absolutely. In a perfect world, that would be nice, wouldn't it? But we're not getting a John Calipari. We're not getting Rick Pitino. Coach K's not coming to UNLV, okay? Thad Matta is a big name. Steve Alford is a name. Jason Kidd is a name. I am going to go with my instincts on this one and say that Thad Matta, I believe he is the front runner for this job. I think it makes sense financially because he's still getting paid from his former, prior position. I don't think they'd have to pay him an arm and a leg. I think he would take this job. He's tried to get a couple other jobs. From my understanding, he's been unsuccessful. This is probably third or fourth on his list. I think the fans should be happy with a guy like Thad Matta because I think he'll win here. I think he'll turn this thing around. Now, again, this is hypothetical. I don't know. I'm just hypothetically speaking, if my sources are correct and Menzies is let go within the next 48 hours, I believe there'll be somebody like a Thad Matta waiting in the wings. I do.
And I think Matta makes sense. He was at Xavier, then he was at Ohio State, which are roughly in the same region. It makes sense for him to kind of go to the West Coast and start something new here in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's look, I got one guy on Twitter, a guy named Brett Perry, who says, receiving inside information and shares with the whole world. Nice guy right here, folks. Why can't you just let stuff play out? Okay, well, Brett, I'll give you my response to that. First of all, there's something called being a member of the media and having sources. Have you ever heard of that before? And when your sources tell you something that you believe people deserve to hear, then you release that information, Brett. I'm sorry, in your perfect world, you don't want the media to report on the program, and you don't want the media to report on the sources and things that they hear. That's how the media works, Brett. If you don't like it, then don't be a part of my social media page.
You know, I think you should respond on air to every single person who calls you out on Twitter. What are your thoughts on that? I think that's a great idea. I would love that.
That would take about 12 hours. We don't have enough time to do that, unfortunately. We just don't. But again, if you're just joining us, UNLV losing to San Diego State in the quarterfinals of the Mountain West Conference Tournament. Two sources that I believe to be very credible are telling me that Marvin Menzies is expected to be let go sometime within the next 48 hours. An announcement could be made as early as Saturday. That is the information that I have. And we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. By the way, Ron Futrell is going to be filling in for us tomorrow, JD, because we will be at the semifinals of the Mountain West Conference Tournament at the Thomas and Mack Center. So Ron Futrell and Susie will be filling in for us tomorrow. Ron does a great job. And if you're a Trump supporter, you're really going to think he does a great job. But Ron's a great guy, so he'll be in tomorrow for us.
He is very, very pro. So no Dennis Silvers? Have we talked to him yet?
No, Dennis is not in tomorrow, but Ron will be filling in,
Ron does a fantastic job.
Look, folks, I just report on what I hear. And look, if some Nimrod on social media sent me an inbox message that I don't know and says, "Hey, Marvin Menzies is going to be fired," no, I wouldn't call that credible. But these are people that I've been talking to for a very long time, and I do believe their sources, and I believe them to be true. And if it is true, we're certainly going to have a lot to talk about on Monday, because I've heard as early as Saturday, UNLV is going to make the announcement that Marvin Menzies is going to be let go. I couldn't find it in my heart at the press conference today when he lost. I couldn't find it in my heart to say, "Coach, are you worried about your job security?" I couldn't find it in my heart to ask that.
I'm actually very surprised you didn't ask that question.
Look, he looked like a beat-up man. I felt bad for him. He was a little emotional talking about Chris Clyburn and Noah Robotham and the fact that, they're seniors. And he was down, and rightfully so. He should be down. He really didn't make any excuses today. He just said he was disappointed. Obviously, he looked disappointed as Hardy was up there, and it was a tough spot, man. I felt bad for the guy. Maybe I shouldn't. I felt bad for him. And that's why I didn't ask that question, because I thought it would have been a little bit disrespectful. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I think it would have been a fair question to ask.
Hey, man, you've got a bit of a sensitive side.
No, it's not sensitive.
Yeah, I think it is.
I'm gonna kick a guy when he's down. I'm not. Big on that.
I would have put the odds at minus 600 2 weeks ago that you would ask that question.
Well, I didn't do it. 257-5396. Let's take a couple quick phone calls here. UNLV basketball. 257-5396. Let's go to Bill. Bill, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Hi, Bill.
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen. I knew people that were pretty close to the High State program, and when Thad Matta was getting out of there was serious health problems.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah, you might be right. I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it had to do with his leg. That was one of the main reasons he left. But I'm sure they would know about that and check that out. But
yeah. I mean, if it's not
got out of there.
If it's not Thad Matta, I would imagine if they are letting Menzies go, and if my sources are correct, I would imagine they have somebody else in the wings. I'm sure you would.
One other thing JD had said a month or so ago, he was saying, they're going in. This football team is going into that new stadium. There's no college team in America that plays in a greater stadium from what they're going to end up over there. I can't think of any off the top of my head. So, that is going to have a bearing. In a way, I think that could be related to what's going on because, you know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff are interrelated. They're correlated, and that is really, really going to be a big thing. So, in some aspects.
I hear what you're saying, Bill. I think, I think, we can read between the lines here.
There's a lot of competition right now for attention from fans in Las Vegas, especially with UNLV moving into the Raiders Stadium.
You guys said earlier, especially Brian, with the losing the gate, the people showing up. That's
the biggest issue.
That's the killer.
I agree, Bill. And by the way, thank you for the call, Bill. Thank you.
Great call, Bill.
I agree. I think number one on Francois' priority list is attendance, and then number two is obviously the team's just not winning, particularly in March. I think those are the two biggest issues, and I think that's Marvin Menzies' demise. I mean, giving a guy 5 or 6 years, it just in this day and age, and with the amount of money that the UNLV athletic department is losing, it just doesn't. Doesn't make sense.
And I think he kind of referring to losses as lessons. I think he kind of came into this year.
He said that today too.
I know. When we were at his house for the media, which was great. We had oxtail and his whole family cooked. But that was cool. It was very nice. That was great.
Yep.
But he was kind of preparing for this pity party. He expected a down year. He didn't think a lot was going to take place, and he wanted to sort of groom the media to understand that, I'm working on this. I'm in year 3. I'm not recruiting strong enough. That doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
This program won a national championship 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're right.
And that's what it comes down to.
You're right, and they're on the brink of not being relevant. So if they are going to make a change, I absolutely, positively would support that, and I would wish Marvin Menzies the best of luck. I really would. But again, we're going to monitor this. Ron Futrell will be filling in for us tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Ron is fantastic. He always does a great job for us. We're going to be at the Mountain West Conference semifinals, so we'll be back at you live, same time, same place on Monday from 6 to 8 p.m., and we will continue to monitor all this UNLV stuff. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Ken Thompson coming up next, the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.